Hi guys, I hope you're all well. Yeah, guys, today we are going to talk about chemistry for grade 12. So we are doing chemistry for grade 12, and we are only going to talk about alkanes. So we are going to talk about alkanes and the reactions that do occur, or the reactions that are related with alkanes. So basically, what are alkanes? So an alkane is an organic group. These are organic group or organic compounds. They are organic compounds. They are organic compounds that contains or consist of that have single bonds. So basically, these are compounds that have a carbon hydrogen bond and also a carbon carbon bond, but the carbon carbon bond has to be a single bond. So basically, alkanes are compounds that consist of a single bonds between two carbon atoms. You can simplify it by saying that, or writing it in that way. They are single bonds between two carbon atoms. So between every carbon atom, they have to be a single bond between the two carbon atoms, and because of that, it's generally related, or rather, it is defined as being an alkane. An alkane is an organic compound that only have a carbon hydrogen and a carbon carbon single bond. So basically, this simply means that there is a single bond between the two carbon atom, or rather between any a mixture of two atoms. So between a carbon and a hydrogen there's a single bond, and also between a carbon and the carbon there's also a single bond. That one is really is defined as being an alkane. So alkane, there is a single bond between two carbon atoms. So it consists of a general formula. It consists of a general formula. It have a general formula of CnH2n plus 2. So this is general formula for writing the alkanes. So all the alkanes, they fall under this general formula. So if it doesn't fall under this general formula, it's therefore not regarded as an alkane. Alkane, they fall under this general formula, whereby we can say that the N can be 1, can be 2, can be 3, all the way to the number that, but in grade 12, it is basically it can go to as much as many numbers as you want, but most cases it ends at number 10, number 9, or number 10. It ends at in most cases it ends at number 9 or number 10, but N just tells you about the number of atoms. So C1 tells you that there's only one a atom for carbon, and then when you put the 2 wherever you see N, this tells you that there are 2 atoms for carbon, and there are 3 atoms for carbon, as you can also end at number 9 or number 10. And because of that, guys, uh, carbon alkanes, they undergo two kinds of reactions. So alkanes, the reactions that occur in alkanes, the reactions of alkane. So there are different kinds of reactions that alkane undergoes, and the first kind of reaction is called substitutional reaction. Substitution. So the first kind of reaction is called substitution. So substitution is the first kind of reaction that alkanes undergo. And number 2, alkanes also undergo elimination. Elimination reaction. So this is the second reaction that alkanes undergo. They first undergo alkanes, or they undergo elimination, and the last one is alkanes. They can also undergo oxidation, or rather it is mainly named combustion. So alkanes, they undergo substitution, or else they can also undergo elimination, or they also undergo oxidation, or rather combustion. So what is substitution? So another thing, guys, alkanes, they are regarded as being saturated. So the word saturated simply means that there is a single bond between your carbon atoms, or rather your carbon molecules. So basically alkanes, they are called saturated simply because of between the two carbon atoms there's always a single bond. So there is always a maximum, the number of bonds between any atom here, it's only single bond. So that's why it's named, they are said to be saturated. So alkanes are saturated. Okay, going back to here, guys, reactions of alkanes, they are substitutions, elimination, or rather sometimes they are oxidation. So what is substitution? So substitution simply means that it is the reaction whereby that an atom, or rather a molecule, is being replaced with another. So there's a substitution from the word substitute. So there is a substitution of a atom or an element with another. So substitutional reaction is generally happens between an alkane. Whenever you see an alkane reacting with a haloalkane, no, reacting to form, I mean, an haloalkane, a haloalkane. So a substitutional reaction is a reaction of alkane forming a haloalkane. So alkane, they mainly react with a halogen. So what is a halogen? A halogen are those elements that are found on group number 7. So it's those bromine, fluorine, iodine, chlorine, those are called halogens. So a substitution is a reaction of an alkane reacting with a halogen to form a haloalkane. Substitution is a reaction of alkane and a halogen to form a haloalkane. So it's the type of reaction that happens on alkanes. And then number 2 is elimination. So what is elimination reaction? So elimination reaction, this is a reaction that basically happens when an alkane, they react to form an alkene, or they decompose to form an alkene. So in most cases, these alkene, in most cases they are in a solid phase. So elimination is this is one of the decomposition reaction, unlike substitution. So elimination, and alkane is from alkane, it is decomposed, meaning that it is breaking down, forming an alkene and plus an alkane. But this alkane here is now different from this one. Why is it different? Because it is an alkane with a shorter chain, with a shorter chain. So basically an elimination is a reaction is a decomposition of an alkane decomposing to form an alkene plus an alkane with a shorter chain. So this is an elimination reaction, and we are going to take a look at one of the examples in a moment. And then the last one is oxidation. So oxidation is another reaction that basically happens in alkanes. So the oxidation, what is oxidation? Oxidation is just basically a reaction of an alkane reacting with oxygen to form a carbon dioxide, which is CO2, plus water, which is H2O, plus the energy, which is being released into the atmosphere. So this reaction is basically called oxidation, or rather it's a combustion reaction, whereby your alkane react with water to form carbon dioxide, water, and the energy that is being released in the atmosphere. So basically these are kind of reaction that happens in in alkanes is substitution, elimination, and oxidation. Substitution is seen or detected by an alkane reacting with a halogen to form a haloalkane, and then an elimination is what is an alkane decomposing, forming an alkene and an alkane with a shorter chain. And then oxidation is it's an alkane reacting with oxygen to form a carbon dioxide, water, and the energy. So let's just take a look at the conditions. So the condition for substitution, the first condition for substitution is that you must have what? You must have heat. So the condition for substitution is heat and sunlight, which is, so sometimes it's regarded as sunlight. So it's either heat, or you can say heat or sunlight. So these are the conditions for substitution. It's heat and sunlight. And then the conditions for this, the elimination, is what? It's heat also plus high pressure. So there's also pressure that is also needed here. So the conditions for elimination, it's heat and pressure. And then the combustion, there are no conditions that are being regarded. And then the dealing with coming to the examples now. The substitution, one of the example for substitution, for substitution, remember, it's an alkane. So let's say C methane, let's say methane, which consists only of only one carbon. Methane reacting what? It's an alkane reacting with a halogen. So halogen, let's say Br2, which is bromine, reacting to form what? To form a methane. So where there was bromine, where there was a hydrogen will be replaced by bromine. So where there was hydrogen, now there will be what? There will be bromine, because of it's what? It's a substitution, the replacement of one atom with another. And because of hydrogen is removed, hydrogen will react with one of the bromine. Hydrogen will be removed and hydrogen will react with one of bromine. So hydrogen will react with one of bromine, and this will also be another product, which is the one that I've written here. So this is substitutional reaction. And then one example of elimination reaction, which is number 2. One example of elimination reaction is, let's take methane. Let's take carbon with how many? Let's say carbon with 5. Yes, a structure with 5 carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So with also hydrogen. So this is pentane. So this compound here, will do what? Will decompose, because we are writing an example of elimination. So an alkane will decompose, forming an alkene. So how does it form an alkene? It forms an alkene plus an alkane that consists of a shorter chain. So the kind of alkene that will be formed here is ethene. So and then ethene will also form ethene, because there are how many carbons now? There are 1, 2 carbons, but here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are only left with how many other carbons? We are left with 3 carbons, so that your reaction, or rather your compound on the right, is balanced with the one on your left. So it's supposed to be 3. It's H. So yeah, and then now your compound is balanced. It's now the compound of this alkane decomposing, forming an ethene, and forming what? A propane. So now your compound is balanced, and this is one of the examples for elimination. A alkene eliminated, forming an alkene and an alkane with a shorter chain. So we will do later on, we'll do some steps on showing how did it decompose from this structure to forming this alkane, and also explanation on how did we go about separating the number of carbons. How did we separate the number of carbons? Here we said the number of carbons is 3, and then the alkene took only 2 number of carbons. So that one will be discussed further.